Welcome to Research Database Introduction. In this video, we will be looking at the database Research in Context as well as database support materials. So as you can see, I am on the library homepage. In order to access the databases as well as the database support material, we need to click on the link over here on the right side of my screen that says Research Databases. So I'm going to click on that link. This is the Research Database homepage. All of the icons in this chart right here represent different databases. For this particular assignment, you guys are going to be using Research in Context as well as the InfoTrack collection. Before we start to look at Research in Context, however, I want to show you some really important database support materials. So I'm on the database homepage and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of the page, and I'm looking here in the bottom right. The first thing that I want to point out to you is the link for home access passwords. When you access the databases here at school, you are not going to be asked for any passwords. But because these are databases that are subscription databases that are paid for by the state of Michigan, when you're at home, you are going to be asked for a password to verify that you are a Michigan user. If you look at this page, you'll see that most of the databases have a password of Rockets. And if I look right here, I see Research in Context, password is Rockets. And if I look at InfoTrack, I see also that the password is Rockets. So again, when you access the databases from home, you are going to have to use the password of Rockets. But here at school, there is no password. The other document that I want you to be aware of is the MLA 8 documentation guide. MLA has just gone through a revision, so we're now at MLA 8. One of the changes that you will see is that the template for all resources is exactly the same. It doesn't matter if you're citing a book, if you're citing a magazine article from a database, or if you are citing a website. The elements that you need to include in your citation are right here. We will be talking about citations in a lot more detail in the coming days, but I want to make sure that you know that the documentation guide is here, as well as there are plenty of examples that show you how to cite the different sources that you will be using. So again, documentation guide, home access passwords are to be found here on the database, Research Database homepage by scrolling down to the bottom and looking in the bottom right. Before we move on from this, one other thing that I want to mention about the databases. I'm on the internet, obviously, to get to the library homepage. And when I click on Research in Context here in just a minute, I'm still on the internet. But we do not consider the resources that you access via the databases to be internet resources. We still consider them to be magazines, books, newspapers, reference books, those kinds of resources. The internet is merely your vehicle, your avenue to access those resources. If a teacher talks to you about an internet resource, getting something from the web, they're talking about using Google or Bing as a search tool, and they're specifically talking about websites. But when we talk about using the databases, internet is our vehicle to get to them, but they're still magazine, books, and newspaper resources. And that's an important distinction for you to be aware of. Okay, let's go ahead and go into Research in Context and take a look at this. Research in Context is one of the databases that you used last year in your ELA classes, so hopefully it looks a little bit familiar to you and you're to some degree comfortable using it. Research in Context will bring you to magazine articles, newspaper articles, reference books, regular books, video resources, audio resources, as well as images. So those are the resource types that you have access to through Research in Context. We spent a lot of time last week talking about Boolean searching and why it is so important when you're utilizing the research databases. So today, when we are learning to use research in context, I'm going to tell you to go immediately to the advanced search, which I'm going to click on right now. And the reason that I'm telling you to go directly to the advanced search is because this is where we are going to be able to use our Boolean search techniques. The first thing that I want you to notice here, that in the advanced search screen, there are multiple search boxes for you to enter your search terms, the keywords that you are going to use to search. I also want you to notice here that "and" is listed for you. And if I click on the down arrow, I see "or" and "not." So that's your access to the 3 Boolean search terms that we learned about last week. I want to comment about "and" being default. Hopefully some of you recall that I told you "and" would be the Boolean search term that you would use most frequently. And I explained to you that the reason for that is because most of the time you are going to be narrowing your search. You want to find focused information that is going to help you answer the specific 6 essential questions that you have for this assignment. "And" is what is going to help you narrow and focus your search so that you get less search results, and so that the search results you do get are going to be more likely to help you answer those essential questions. So for my example, I'm going to click tanning in the first box. Oops, I don't really need the cap locks on. And that is what you always will do, all right? You have a base search topic, whether it be child abuse, adoption, steroid abuse. That is always going to go in your first search box. I'm going to use "and in looking at my essential questions, one of the things I know that I have to find out about is the dangers of tanning, as those dangers relate to teens. So I've got tanning, dangers, teens, and I'm going to click search. Okay, so my search results are over here, and I can see that I have an audio, I can see that I have 5 magazines, and I can see that I have 1 newspaper article. All right, notice that it's only showing me 3 of my magazines. If I want to see all 5, I need to click on the number 5 right here. Okay, so I'm looking at my 5 magazines, and I'm looking at the titles, and I'm kind of looking at what little bit I have about the article, which is usually like the first sentence or 2. And I'm thinking that I'm going to go ahead and open this one from the Melanoma Foundation. Okay. One of the first things that you want to do when you're looking at an article is to quickly skim the article for a sense of how frequently and where your search terms are highlighted. So my search terms, teens, tanning, and dangers, are in red. As I look at this article, I see that they're kind of scattered throughout the entire article. So that tells me that there is the potential for useful information throughout this article. You could open your article and find out that your search terms are only in 2 or 3 paragraphs. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but what that tells me as a searcher is that then I'm going to focus on those 2 or 3 paragraphs. There's probably not a need for me to read the entire article. So those are some things that I'm doing quickly as a searcher to kind of evaluate this article. I haven't read anything, but I'm still making some evaluations and some judgments relative to how I'm going to attack this article and look at this article. All right. The next thing that I really want to focus on is, okay, what in this article is going to help me with my essential research questions? So as I'm kind of skimming this article, I am seeing that it's talking about a direct link between tanning and melanoma, which is the deadliest form of skin cancer. I'm looking, and I'm seeing likelihood, and I'm seeing some statistics and some numbers. And I know that one of the requirements of this assignment is to have some statistics and numbers that really bring this topic to life, that really connect this topic to teens. So I'm seeing some potential for this article. So I need to take notes on this article. I need to print this article. So while we're here, I'm going to point out this tools section. All right. Every article in Research and Context is going to have the same tools, and the tools are going to be here on the right of the article. So if I want to print, I see here is my print. If I click on the download, and I want to show you this, because the download is going to automatically save this article to Google Drive. I've already logged into my Google account, so if I click download, it is automatically going to download. If you were not signed into your Google account, at that point it would prompt you to sign into your Google account. All right. I can also make use of highlighting and notes features. So maybe I'm looking at this and I want to highlight this as part of my notes before I print it. Okay. I could color code my notes according to my 6 essential questions if I wanted. The other thing that we need to talk about is grabbing the citations for this article. 2 ways that you can get the citation. All right, if I scroll to the bottom of every article, I am going to see the source citation MLA 8. Remember at the beginning when I showed you the citation support materials, all right, I pointed out that we are using MLA 8. So one of the things that you can do is you could copy and paste right from here and paste this into a document you have in Google Drive to gather all your citations. The other thing that you could do for your citations is if I come here to Citation Tools, make sure I'm on MLA 8, I can click the download button. And now I have a file here, again, that I can save to Drive or that I can copy and paste into Drive. Either method is fine. You just want to make sure that if you're using a particular article that you grab that citation, because remember, for every article you use, you have to have a citation for that article. Because anytime that we take information from an outside source, information that is not our own information, that is not common knowledge, we must cite that information. So really important to grab that while you're in the article. Okay, one other thing that I really want to make sure and emphasize to you or explain to you is why we're going into advanced search. I'm going to quick, just in this basic search box, type the word tanning. And what I want you to notice is the difference between the number of articles, information that we received from advanced search versus doing the advanced search. So I just did a general search for tanning here. I did not narrow or focus my topic in any way. Notice how many articles that I have. All right, just magazines alone, I have 390. Knowing students like I do, I know that none of you are going to go through 390 articles to get your information. You're going to be irritated, frustrated, and overwhelmed before you get to that point, and you're going to stop searching. The other thing that I want you to notice is if I look at these first few articles, what kind of information about tanning am I getting? Tanning as it relates to skins and hides, tanning as it relates to leather, tanning as it relates to different chemicals that are used in tanning. I'm getting biographies of people who have the word tanning as their last name. All right, I am getting a lot of things here that have nothing to do about tanning as it relates to teens and sun tanning and the potential dangers of that. So that is the other reason why I want you to make sure that when you come into Research and Context, right from this home page, you go into Advanced Search because you can use your Boolean search terms. All right, so that is an introduction to Research and Context. I hope that will help you be a more efficient user of Research and Context. Thanks for your attention.